This one's actually um, an interesting situation. Happened, I think it happened last year, but the lady that it happened to is suing now. She was driving down an Arkansas highway and she was pregnant. Nobody would know that at the time. And she was going, I think, 14 miles an hour over the speed limit, maybe more. And a police officer had spotted her and started to follow her. He had his lights on, and she didn't feel safe and didn't want to pull over. Um, she didn't feel. I think there was some sort of construction she felt. When I watched the video, and I'll show you the video in a second, it just looked like there wasn't really a lot of room for her to pull over. Though she could have done it, this wasn't a lot of room. So she wanted to wait till she got off the off ramp. So she slowed down. She put on her emergency lights and she thought that would be enough. But for whatever reason, the officer eventually turned on his siren, I guess after 2 minutes, and he got beside her car and he did a maneuver that police officers do sometimes, which is called a pit maneuver, I think is what it's called, where they take the front of their car, hit the back end of your car, a car in front of you, of them, and then it causes the car to fishtail, lose control. So that's the choice that the officer made. The officer's name is Rodney Dunn, and the person driving the car, her name is Nicole Harper. So the car ended up rolling over after this pit stop. Turns out at that time the lady was pregnant and so forth. So that's what happened. So now she's going to sue. So watch the video, and just some things, as we watch the video as a citizen that, we want to learn from as citizens, and, what do we do in these situations? And also, maybe as a citizen, maybe we can help our police officers as they pull us over. So I've been pulled over. I've talked about this before. I've been pulled over a few times, and when I'm pulled over, I try to keep in mind of the police officer. So if I'm driving in an area, if it's at night, I turn on my interior lights so at least the police officer can see me at all times. And then I usually will pull over. I will drive for a minute, not a minute, but I'll drive for just to get somewhere safer when I pull over for the police officer and for myself. But usually I'm thinking about the police officer. And the reason why I'm thinking about the police officer because my brother used to be a police officer. So I'm thinking about him every time I get pulled over. So I don't want to just be no disregard for the police officer and just pull over anywhere, because for the most part, I'm going to be safe because I'm in my car. But the police officer, he's the one that's getting out of his car. He's the one that's walking in a traffic situation. So I try not to do that to the police officer. So I'll drive for just a little ways with my interior lights on, and I'll pull into whatever I can get safe. Like it could be a parking spot or whatever it is. If it's too far away, then I'll just pull over wherever. If I don't anticipate a close off ramp or something, then I'll pull over pretty much immediately. So it's whatever I anticipate. Usually I know the area. And so with this lady, she was attempting to do the same thing. Nicole Harper, she was attempting, there wasn't a lot of space for her. And I think she's more concerned about herself. She wasn't really concerned about the police officer, what it sounds like. And now we understand why she was concerned about herself, because she was pregnant and she didn't want to get into some sort of car accident, get rear-ended or that kind of situation while she was pregnant. And so when you look at the lane that they're driving on, I mean, she could pull over there, but it just feels like her car would be partly in traffic. And I just don't, from what it sounds, she didn't feel safe. So she slowed down. She put on her emergency lights. It all makes sense. These are the things that I think that you can do. I think you should do. But in this situation, but you also have to read the signs, because in this situation, the police officer turned on a siren. Like if the police officer has this lights on you, you know they're being patient with you, and so he's going to follow you, whatever. But once they turn on that siren, though, you can't keep driving once they turn the siren. Once they turn the siren, for whatever reason, that police officer is impatient. He suspects something. He wants you to pull over now. So whenever you hear the siren, it really doesn't matter where you're at. You got to pull over. And in my opinion, that's the error that we can improve on, it, that this person, Nicole Harper, could have improved on. Yes, you should pull over somewhere safe. Take your time, slow down, turn the flashers on, let the police officer know. But if they turn that siren on, that means they're not getting it. They're not understanding it. So that means that's a sign for you to pull over right away, period. So, and then he pulled over alongside of her. So she most likely saw that too. He's pulled alongside her. He's no longer behind her. He's pulling alongside her with the siren on. So at that point, that's even a more stronger message. It's time to pull over. Just stop right there. That's all you can do, because you make it worse on yourself in those situations. So that's just a note I made for myself when I was watching it. And like I said, I think you have every right to pull over somewhere safe. She did the right things with the flasher. She slowed down, but in this situation, it wasn't enough. So then she's got to look outside her situation and see what's going on with the police officer. And like I said, he has a siren on. Pull over. He's beside her car. Pull over. That's the message here. But then at the same time, you're looking at the officer, Rodney Dunn, and though he does have the right, like I feel as a citizen, I'm just a citizen, though I feel he has the right to use that maneuver, the pit maneuver, because she wouldn't pull over. But there's something inside of me that says, does it make sense to use that maneuver in this situation? Is it really necessary to use that maneuver? Because basically he's pulling over for a traffic situation. She does have her flashers on. So that should be a message to the police officer that he sees her, and for whatever reason, she's not going to pull over yet, but it doesn't look like she's trying to run. My guess that you should be able to see that, but for whatever reason, it didn't cross his mind. And I'm thinking, like, police officers will, in my opinion, would usually use that maneuver, the pit maneuver, if they suspect something. Like, if he ran her plates and it's a stolen car, that could be a reason. That might, who knows, that person may be a little jumpy now that you're pulling over a stolen car. Who knows what's going to happen? And now they're not pulling over. That makes sense. Maybe there was some act of violence somewhere and someone reported them getting into this car. They reported this car. So now that makes sense for the police officer to be a little jumpy and maybe use that maneuver. If they had some sort of information, this police officer, about this car in particular, this plate, that leads that maybe this is not going to be good, or this could end up kind of a dangerous situation, so I need to use this maneuver to stop. That all makes sense. But once again, we get into these situations. And so he's in his right, in my opinion, he's in his right what he did, but was his judgment good? Did he have the right type of judgment of this situation based on what I just described? Because once again, we get ourselves in a situation where you have a citizen with just getting pulled over for traffic situation, like broken tail lights or speeding, whatever it is, and now this citizen is in danger because of the police officer's judgment in this situation. That doesn't mean he's not a good police officer. Doesn't mean he wasn't doing his job. But the judgment in this situation, it feels like it was off, is what I'm saying. So he made a decision to use that maneuver, and the car hit the walls, it turned over, and you can see from the video, he's not upset. He's calm. Was talking to whoever he was talking to on the radio, said the car rolled over, send the EMTs or whatever they call it. So he's very calm. He gets out, he's calm. He wants to help her. He walks over to the car, he wants to help her. He's asking if she's okay. He helps her out of the car. He, lets her know, she's talking about her shoe. He says, we'll get that later. Just come over here, sit down, wait for the paramedics to get here. I mean, he's doing everything he can to help her. He obviously cares about this situation. But it's just the judgment he made at this time. And we're all humans, we make mistakes. But I just think that this police officer in this situation, he just had a miscalculation of judgment of what situation he was in, and whether it was really necessary to use this tactic or not. So we'll see what happens. She's going to sue. I think, some people think, well, should the police officer be fired? My opinion is, I say no. But I do think he should have like a learning opportunity here, and all other police officers. This is an example of a learning opportunity of when to use the maneuver, because the maneuver is necessary. It's definitely necessary when you see criminal behavior, when there's some sort of danger out there. But a lot of us, we're just regular citizens driving, and yeah, we'll run a stop sign or we'll speed, and then we're getting pulled over, and then we find ourselves in these situations, unnecessary situations with police sometimes. And so, yeah. So I'm gonna show you the video real quick. So it appears like she slows down. But you can see, it doesn't really look like a lot of space goes that way. She just, the impasse coming up, so it's a mile away. That's where but he's at the side right here. He's got the side road, so right here she should know, well, it's time to pull up.
They hit the inside wall. They rolled over. Get me EMS started.
There's hardly any traffic on this road for some reason. It looks pretty low.
Can you get out? Come on out. Come out this way, right here. Come out this way.
See, the officer's trying to help her.
Why didn't you stop?
Because I didn't feel like it was safe.
Well, this is where you ended up.
There was enough.
Watch your head. Can you come out this way? I got plenty of room right here. Are you the only one in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pregnant.
Well, ma'am, you've got to pull over when we
I
stop.
had my flash.
It doesn't matter, ma'am. Come on
I didn't feel
out.
like it was safe.
I've got an ambulance coming for you.
So that's basically it. So you can see the police officer's calm. He wasn't vindictive in any way. He wasn't even hyped up of any way. It just felt like he was just trying to do his job, what he felt he needed to do. But I just felt like there's a judgment situation there. But that's all I have on it. Peace and hope, everyone.